FM News Talk 97.1.
On demand audio. Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or toll free at 866-455-9797. You're listening to The Dana Show.
So much of what this administration does, be it healthcare or immigration, is based on optics. How will they look to the public? They'll pass something that is miles wide and inches deep and think that that's going to answer the pressing problem of, I don't know, reforming immigration or reforming healthcare. But we know better. Of course, when you talk about it, you get criticized, much like our next guest, who has always been at the forefront of defending the grassroots movement, Congresswoman Michele Bachmann. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, Dana, it's great to talk to you this afternoon. I'm so glad that we can talk about this crucial topic, because one thing that I want to dispel for your listeners is I think a lot of people feel like if they're a member of the House of Representatives, a Republican or a conservative, that they can just breathe easy. And when it comes to this issue of amnesty for illegal aliens, I just want to raise a red flag and hit the siren button, because your listeners would be shocked to know how many Republican conservatives in the House of Representatives are ready to embrace and vote for amnesty. And it's something that I can't begin to understand, but we need your listeners to melt the phone lines right now. And don't just assume that your member is good on this issue. You can't believe what it's like around here, and we need people to act very quickly, because the Republicans, for some unknown reason, seem determined to actually pass amnesty. So we need help.
And we keep thinking, and, we believed that, well, if anything is going to stop it, it'll be the Republicans in the House. And I talked to your colleague, Congressman Steve Stockman, last week, and he was saying, well, we're going to try to take a stand against it, but you know how some of these folks are. And I asked him whether or not he was confident that Speaker Boehner would keep his word to not bring it forward. It had been reported in Politico and a couple of other outlets that he wasn't even going to bring it forward, that he wasn't going to go back on the Hastert rule, all of this. But as Stockman said, well, he's still a politician. You never know. So really, it's a lot more unsure than what we've even been led to believe.
I think it's very, very unsure and tenuous right now, because yesterday the speaker was quoted in, I believe it was a roll call article, wherein he said that he would bring first a border security bill, but then he would bring a legalization bill. Oh. Well, if you pass both bills in the House, guess which one is actually going to make it on the president's desk?
Right.
It's going to, because don't forget, legalization equals amnesty, which equals citizenship, which equals the only goal the president has, which is to bring in tens of millions of new voters for his progressive policies to cement them into place forever. That's what I don't get. The Republicans have got to figure this out, that there is no chance for us to ever take this country back again for constitutional conservative principles if we bring in tens of millions of voters who want to make sure that they can keep the dependency programs flowing.
Yeah, and I don't understand some of the Republicans' reasoning behind this either, because you're talking about, 8 or 9% of the electorate, and it seems as though we have some of our Republican brethren, Congressman Bachman, who seem to think that, well, if we just pacify this small section of the voting bloc, then we'll have a ton of victories in the future. But at the same time, they're actually alienating immigrants who follow the process legally. It just doesn't seem like any sort of win.
No, it isn't. It isn't at all. And think of this calculus. This is the number one item for President Obama, for his political agenda in this term. And he's just started his second term as president. And here the Republicans are tripping all over themselves to help the president pass his number one political agenda item, which is tens of millions of more permanent Democrat voters into the future. It makes no sense. And I think it's because too many Republicans have been scared by the Republican political establishment class into believing that we'll have permanent minority status in the future if we don't go ahead and get on the train with amnesty. And just the opposite is the truth. Just the opposite. So they've got to wake up, and they aren't awake. And that's why I know people feel fatigued. They get tired of having to pick up the phone. But, Dana, I'm telling you, that this is the issue. In the next 4 years, this is the one time when your listeners need to take action and pick up the phone and call their member of Congress, and even go a step further. Go to their contact list on their computer or in their telephone and send out a mass message to say now's the time. Because I think the Republicans and the Congress want to get this done before August.
Oh, yes.
Because I think this is their big window of opportunity. So it's not like we can wait to September to think about that, because then we'll be dealing with the debt ceiling and all those issues. Right now is when they want to get this over and done with. And they think, hey, everybody's asleep this summer. Nobody's going to pay attention. In 2007, your listeners melted the phone lines when John McCain had his amnesty bill, and it looked like his bill would pass, but the American people pushed back harder, and it died. We've got to do that again, because this will permanently change America forever. It's perpetual amnesty, and we might as well forget future elections, quite honestly. I mean, I don't want to be melodramatic when I say that, but when you so change the calculus of who the voting base is, I mean, really, what are our chances in the future?
Right. Well, no, I completely understand that. You had mentioned that the speaker might introduce two separate bills, and you were discussing how, well, the legalization one, that's the one that would end up on the president's desk. And I assume that would include a lot of the ideas which began in the Gang of Eights bill as well.
That's right. And don't forget for a moment, we were betrayed by the Republicans in the Senate. And I'm happy to say that. We were betrayed by the Republicans in the Senate. It's a phony, fake border security bill that will never build a fence, never secure the border. And we had Republicans who sold us down the river on that bill. So give up on the Republicans in the Senate. They are worthless on this issue. And what we need to do now is focus on turning the votes of members of Congress in the House. And it's Republicans that we have to turn. On the Drudge Report this morning, there was a story with a Democrat memo that listed about 90-some members, Republican members of the House, who they feel are vulnerable to actually voting for this bill. Because, again, we don't even need a majority of the Republicans to vote for the bill.
Right.
It's all of the Pelosi Democrats plus just enough you can peel off, and bam, you've got amnesty.
Oh, it's so unfortunate and so unsettling. And all of this, I fear, is just simply it's designed to not only change election outcome, but also to cause Republicans to lose their majority in the House. Because if Republicans agree to this, there's no way they're going to get the base. And you know this as well, Congresswoman Bachman. There's no way they're going to have the base turnout to keep Republicans in the majority in the House. And then we have the same setup that we had when Obamacare passed.
Well, exactly, and that is the goal because, you know, let's face it, the Democrats control the White House and the Senate. The only thing they need is to control the House of Representatives, and Nancy Pelosi right now is licking her chops. She can see it on the horizon that she can get the gavel back in her hand. And let me tell you, once these Democrats, they had their practice run when they controlled the House of Representatives, which gave us Dodd-Frank and Obamacare, but if they control all three gavels, the White House, the Senate, and the House, which is what you need to pass a bill, if they hold it, my fear is they'll hold it forever. And that's what they see as permanent majority status. And they can do that if they get massive millions of people, new voters in their voting bloc. Then it'll be very, very tough for us to ever come back again. But I want to tell you, that I'm not crying wolf here.
Oh, I know.
This is very real. And I am actually shocked and floored because I was here for that fight in 2007 against amnesty. And I can't believe the turnabout in Republican members this time. And don't forget, over 50% of the House of Representatives, the Republicans in the House, weren't here for that fight in '07. And we haven't yet, this is hard to believe, but we haven't yet had 1 hour of discussion among Republicans on this issue.
Oh, wow.
Here they want to vote on it. We haven't even had one meeting yet on it as Republicans.
Wow.
We're going to have our first one tomorrow. And what the leadership wants to do is talk about their two bills, not even just the underlying subject. They want to talk about their bills, one of which is legalization. And so we're going to have to be straight up now tomorrow in this meeting and let the leadership know that we're going to fight with everything that we have within us. But it would be extremely helpful if your listeners would be melting the phone lines and letting their Republican member know you can't vote for this bill. And if you have a Democrat member, let him know. Don't vote for any of these bills. I want people to know I am not voting for any bill. Even if it's the best border security bill you've ever seen, I'm voting no. Why? Because that will be a Trojan horse.
Yep.
It'll be a vehicle where you pull the good guts out of it, and they're going to put amnesty in. And I'm voting no. Because guess what? 7 years ago, the House passed a bill to build a fence on the entire southern border. We paid for that fence.
Yep.
And what my question is, where's the fence?
Yeah, where is
We
it?
gave you the money 7 years ago. Where's the fence? If we still don't have a fence and we passed a bill 7 years ago, why do we have to do it again?
Exactly.
Do we honestly think Barack Obama or Janet Napolitano are going to get that bridge or get that fence built? Are you kidding? All they're going to do is take their magic wand in their hand and say, well, now we've got legalization status. And just like we saw President Obama on Obamacare this week change the law at will, President Obama will say, it's unconstitutional to have a legalized status and you can't vote. I'm going to let every one of these new legalized citizens vote. Bam! We've just lost the 2014 election. Bam! Nancy Pelosi is the new Speaker of the House.
In perpetuity. Scary. Oh, how I wish you were staying in the House, Congresswoman. Perhaps
well,
2016,
I'm grateful
you never know.
that I've had 8 years here. I do believe that you should have a turnover and a changeover, and it's a leap of faith for me. I don't know where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, but I believe in this process of limiting yourself. But I intend to have a voice and use it and find another perch on the national stage, and we'll see what comes.
Well, definitely. Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, always one of the most conservative fighters in the House of Representatives, which we so appreciate. Thank you so much for sounding this alarm, and we definitely do take it to heart, and we definitely will be melting those phones. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and the number is 202-224-3121.
202-224-3121, folks. Congresswoman Michele Bachmann, as always, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, folks, quick break. Keep it right here.